You see, when we talk about narcissists, we're not simply discussing people who are self-absorbed or prideful. It's much deeper than that. A narcissist is someone who has constructed a reality in which they are the central figure, one that demands adoration, control, and dominance over those around them. They've woven a psychological fabric that allows them to manipulate and distort your perception of reality. And what's truly insidious about narcissists is that they feed off your emotional responses, your weaknesses. They thrive on your confusion, on your hurt, on your anger. The thing about narcissists is that they don't simply act out of selfishness. They act out of a need for validation, a desperate need to be seen as exceptional, as untouchable, as beyond reproach. But the truth is, their world is fragile. It is built on a house of cards, and the moment you stop reacting, the moment you refuse to feed into their narrative, their entire world comes crumbling down. And that's where a super empath comes in. Now, let me clarify what we mean by an empath. I'm not talking about someone who's just compassionate or caring. I'm not talking about someone who simply sympathizes with others' pain. I'm talking about something far more powerful. A true super empath is someone who understands others' emotions deeply, feels them with an intensity that is often overwhelming. They see into the very heart of human suffering. They know what it feels like to be betrayed, manipulated, and hurt. But here's the key. They don't allow that pain to define them. They don't allow the chaos and manipulation to pull them into a destructive cycle. This right here is the paradox of empathy. It is not weakness. It is strength. Empathy is the power to see, to understand, to feel the hurt and suffering of others without letting it consume you. It is the ability to look into the eyes of someone who wishes to control you, to manipulate your emotions, and to say, I see what you're doing. I understand the game you're playing, but I will no longer be a part of it. Narcissists, by their very nature, are predators. They live off your emotional turmoil. They know how to push your buttons, how to make you doubt your own sanity, how to twist your reality into something that works in their favor. They excel at gaslighting, at manipulating, at controlling your emotions. And for a while, if you're not careful, they can make you feel as though you're powerless, as though you're losing your grip on reality. But here's the truth. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you gain control over your emotions, the moment you refuse to let their manipulation get under your skin, you begin to see the narcissist for what they truly are. And that, my friends, is where the power lies. The narcissist is vulnerable, inadequate. Their entire identity is built on a fragile, unstable foundation. They need you to feed into their delusions. They need you to feel small, insecure, confused. But a super empath does not play their game. They don't respond to the narcissist's emotional attacks. They see the game for what it is and refuse to participate. They understand that the narcissist's power over them is entirely based on their emotional responses. And once they take control of that, the narcissist has nothing left. You see, there's a profound shift in perspective that takes place when you become this super empath. Narcissists, like all people who thrive on manipulation, are parasites. They need to feed off of others to survive, to feel validated. But they are weak. Their very existence relies on emotional reactions that they incite in others. And once you realize that, once you understand that your emotional state is the battleground, you gain the upper hand. The problem with so many of us is that we believe we are supposed to engage in a direct confrontation with the narcissist. We think that by arguing, by exposing their lies, or by standing up for ourselves in ways that trigger a response from them, we can win. But this is a trap. You're playing into their hands. The narcissist doesn't want confrontation. They don't want to be challenged on a logical, rational level. What they want is to see you fall. They want to see you lose control, to break under the pressure of their manipulation. And when you engage in this way, you're giving them exactly what they need to thrive. But a super empath doesn't fall into this trap. They don't waste time arguing or trying to win against someone who thrives on emotional chaos. Instead, they practice detachment. This doesn't mean they become cold or indifferent. It means they no longer allow their emotions to be controlled by someone else. The super empath understands the narcissist's game, and they simply refuse to play. Here's where it gets really interesting. The narcissist's biggest fear is being exposed for who they truly are. Beneath their grandiose exterior lies insecurity, self-doubt, and a deep fear of being seen as inadequate. But as long as the narcissist can manipulate others into feeding their false reality, they can continue their charade. So when a super empath refuses to participate in the emotional drama and manipulation, the narcissist's mask begins to slip. And that's when they lose their power. The narcissist cannot continue their emotional manipulation without you being emotionally entangled in their game. Now, you might ask yourself, how do I become a super empath? How do I cultivate this strength and resilience in my own life? Well, it starts with self-awareness. The first step in breaking free from the grip of a narcissist is understanding how you have been emotionally manipulated. You have to look at your own emotional responses honestly. You must ask yourself, what triggers me? What makes me react in a way that gives the narcissist power? This is an uncomfortable exercise, but it's absolutely necessary. You have to know yourself before you can regain control over your emotions. This self-awareness doesn't come from external validation. It doesn't come from asking others how they see you. It comes from a deep, honest examination of your own behavior. You have to ask, why do I feel guilty when I stand up for myself? Why do I feel obligated to cater to this person's needs at the expense of my own? This is where the narcissist's manipulation thrives. Their ability to make you doubt your own sense of self. But when you begin to see how you've been manipulated, you will feel a sense of power returning to you. You will start to recognize the patterns of emotional control and break free from them. The next step is setting boundaries. Narcissists do not respect boundaries. They see them as limitations, something to be bypassed or ignored entirely. But the moment you draw a firm line in the sand and enforce it, you stop being a target for their manipulation. The narcissist will push, of course. They will test your resolve. But every time you stand firm, you are reclaiming your personal power. You are reminding the narcissist and yourself that you will not tolerate being treated as anything less than worthy of respect. It's important to remember that narcissists have no empathy. They cannot comprehend the emotional weight of their actions. They are not going to apologize or feel remorse. And that's another reason why engaging in emotional battles with them is futile. When you try to make them see the harm they're causing, when you demand that they apologize or acknowledge their wrongdoings, you're engaging in a futile exercise. You're speaking a language they don't understand. But the super empath understands this. They don't need the narcissist's approval or acknowledgement. They know that their boundaries are the most important thing. And when those boundaries are respected, they begin to reclaim their life from the narcissist's toxic influence. Finally, there's emotional mastery. This is perhaps the most crucial aspect of becoming a super empath. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about managing them, controlling them, and not allowing them to control you. It's about recognizing when the narcissist is attempting to provoke you and choosing not to engage with their manipulative behavior. It's about remaining calm and focused, even in the face of emotional provocation. When you practice emotional mastery, you begin to develop resilience. You become more grounded, more aware of your emotional triggers, and less likely to be manipulated. And when you no longer react emotionally to the narcissist's behavior, they lose their power over you. They are no longer able to provoke you, to make you doubt yourself, or to create chaos in your life. And this is the ultimate victory. The moment you realize that you are no longer bound by the narcissist's manipulation, you have taken back control over your own emotions, your own life, and your own peace of mind. You no longer need to fight them. You no longer need to prove anything to them. You have become the master of your own fate. So if you are facing a narcissist in your life, whether it's in your personal relationships, at work, or elsewhere. Remember this: the only way to defeat them is to stop reacting, to stop allowing them to manipulate your emotions, to stand firm in your boundaries, and to regain control over your life. The power is in your hands. You just have to take it.